Intro.
Broadcasting from Now Media Network's headquarters in Houston, this is Purple Politics, hosted by political expert and commentator Alina Gonzalez Dockery. Join us to discuss the most important issues affecting our nation with fresh, balanced, and objective discussion on the first bilingual media network in the United States. Purple Politics starts right now.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Purple Politics. I am your hostess, Alina Gonzalez Dockery, and from losing a seat to Mayorkas and then everything that is elections, let's get to it. The congressional balance teeters. House GOP majority narrows amidst a crucial legislative deadline. Tom Suozzi's recent win in a special House election in New York has further narrowed the Republican majority in the House of Representatives. With only two potential defections from the party line on votes, the GOP faces a precarious situation, especially considering potential absences due to various reasons like illness or travel delays. This reduced majority comes amid a busy legislative agenda, including imminent deadlines for government funding and a crucial national security spending bill for allies like Ukraine and Israel. Former Speaker Newt Gingrich highlighted the defensive position this narrow majority puts Republicans in, emphasizing the need for careful maneuvering to avoid defeats. The implications of this slim margin were already evident when Republicans narrowly succeeded in impeaching Alejandro M. Mayorkas, the Homeland Security Secretary, by just one vote, highlighting the importance of every member's presence in crucial votes. The new balance of power imperils Republicans' ability to both maintain control of the House in the upcoming November elections and effectively govern until then. The reduced margin means Speaker Mike Johnson will face challenges in managing his party, which is extremely divided and volatile at times, and especially considering the potential for further reductions in the majority due to upcoming special elections. Despite upcoming opportunities for Republicans to fill vacant seats, the deep internal divisions within the party pose challenges to passing legislation solely relying on GOP votes. Speaker Johnson has resorted to procedural motions in cooperation with Democrats to navigate these challenges, but internal rebellions remain a threat to party cohesion. Efforts to keep track of members' whereabouts have intensified, but ensuring everyone's presence for critical votes remains challenging. Members are adjusting to the new reality where absences can significantly impact outcomes, as seen in the recent impeachment vote against Mayorkas. Overall, this narrow majority forces Republicans to navigate carefully with little room for error in managing their priorities and trying to get unity within the party. Now, many will say the major critics were that this special election was a result of the ouster of Santos, Representative Santos of the Long Island. And this further questions the ability of the RNC or Republicans to be able to put forward an electable candidate, because the bottom line is Suozzi came under a tough immigration campaign highlighting anti-Trump rhetoric and also the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Now, let's look at this. The top two issues that Republicans who are running for re-election or trying to win a seat, because this seat once again will be open for election in November, they have to deal with the fact that there is a huge anti-Trump sentiment, especially among areas like Long Island, which is suburban, demographically vastly populated by white, suburban, educated people, suburban moms, and also moderates. the MAGA movement has proven time and time again to lose crucial seats and elections because they are pushing out what some would say would be a highly electable, moderate Republican, because they're thrusting their force, trying to force this MAGA movement on all borders or in all states. So this is something that will be continued to be looked at, because once again, there is a major hit to the Republicans and something has to be dealt with. And speaking of one of the major issues coming up in our presidential as well as congressional and senatorial elections this November is how the Senate Democrats are flipping the border issue on Republicans. So Senator Mitch McConnell's revelation to Senator Chuck Schumer regarding the inclusion of border security in a package aimed at aiding Ukraine posed a significant dilemma for Democrats. Memories of past immigration negotiations haunted Schumer, but rejecting the demand risked jeopardizing the Ukraine aid. After careful consideration, Democrats pivoted, seeing an opportunity to score political points by addressing border security, which could garner bipartisan support and bolster efforts to secure aid for Ukraine. The unexpected shift in strategy led to months of intricate negotiations and near-collapse scenarios in Congress. The failure of the immigration proposal ultimately cleared the path for the passage of the foreign aid bill, with enough Republicans supporting it despite initial resistance. Schumer anticipated Republican desertion from the deal, positioning Democrats to deflect blame and highlight their efforts to address border concerns. Schumer's approach paid dividends politically, as evidenced by Tom Suozzi's victory in the House special election for Long Island, where he successfully countered attacks on immigration by accusing Republicans of playing politics with the border. Despite the challenges, Schumer remained actively involved, urging negotiators to persevere and seeking broader engagement from key stakeholders, including President Biden and Senate Republicans. While the border talks faced numerous hurdles and ultimately collapsed, Schumer's adept handling insulated Democrats from backlash and allowed bipartisan efforts to salvage the Ukraine aid. Democrats leveraged the immigration debate to their advantage, signaling support for border provisions without conceding policy ground. Despite preferring legislative action on immigration, Schumer emphasized the importance of addressing border issues amid ongoing challenges. Now, let's recap. Last week, we reported about how the bipartisan negotiated deal, which some would say was ultimately not a good deal, and honest opinion, it was not, because it would allow upwards of 5,000 crossings a day. It still would heavily burden our infrastructure, both within border states as well as cities like New York, Chicago, and such. It was not a good deal, but it was a beginning. And ultimately, the Republicans put themselves in a very precarious position because they were the ones who demanded that our border security be tied with any future funding of Ukraine as well as Israel. And Israel was just kind of thrown in. It was really the Ukrainian continuing to provide weapons and funding for Ukraine. Now, this has all backfired. I mean, seriously backfired in the Republicans' faces, because it came on reporting that Donald Trump himself contacted senators stating that not to approve this deal, that the immigration issues, the border security issues, was too important of an issue for his presidential reelection bid to allow this to go forward. Now, let's flip to the other side. So yes, Schumer has really provided an excellent fodder for the Democrats to say this is the Republicans' issue. They were never coming to the table with clean hands or openly, that this is all because Donald Trump told them not to do it. Now, we also have another side. We have the House of Representatives, which the Speaker of the House, Johnson, has stated unequivocally over and over again that that deal, that bipartisan negotiation would have been dead in the water unless it had allowed for asylees to applicants for asylum to be held in Mexico, like other more stringent requirements and restrictions on people crossing the border. Now, the Democrats are also utilizing this as a fight to say that Biden needed this in order to shut down the border, which now the Republicans are on the defensive, saying that Biden has always had the means to shut down the border, that Mayorkas is the one purposely not abiding by the federal laws in restricting the asylum applications, as well as allowing entrance until asylum seekers are held, coming back years down the road for their trials or their hearings on their applications. Again, this is now a tit for tat. We are in a presidential election year, but one thing is for certain: the Democrats have turned the tables against the Republicans who were once the stewards of the security on the border and immigration reform, for tougher immigration reforms, and also for much needed immigration laws to be amended. Has now, the Democrats are the ones now saying, wait a minute, we're here for the security. We want the borders closed. We're trying to do everything to limit what asylum seekers can allowed into the country, as well as the time frame for their hearing. So what we have seen now in that special election in Long Island, New York, is security, border, and Trump are the biggest issues now going to be played, as well as the Roe v. Wade, the access to abortion, are the biggest issues now that the Democrats are driving home. Will this effectively, will this be effective across the nation? That remains to be seen. But one thing is for certain: in a moderate areas where you have a demographic that seems to be more prone to be right, center right, middle ground, we're seeing now that Chuck Schumer's hand was very well played. And one has to say congratulations to Schumer, because he now has put the Republicans on their heels. We are cutting to a quick break. Be right, join us for returning, and we will talk about all things that are occurring with RFK Jr., as well as Trump's statements regarding NATO. Thank you, and we'll be right back.